Recording in.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Sia. How are you, beta?
I'm fine, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine. Finally, I have time with you for this interview. Many congratulations, Bacha. You have got 98% for CBSE boards. How are
Yes,
you feeling
yes,
about
ma'am.
it?
Thank you. Nice, ma'am. Very nice. Very happy.
Did you expect getting 90%?
No,
98,
not
sorry.
at no, not at all actually. Because I was a pretty average student till my eighth grade. I didn't even reach 90%. So it
Oh,
was pretty shocking.
how much were you expecting?
Honestly, given that on the basis of my term one results, I was pretty confident because I had gained that confidence. So I was sure that, yeah, I will get 95% above for sure, like based on my preparation.
Okay. Are you the school topper?
The second, ma'am,
Second.
99 is the
Okay.
highest. Huh,
Oh, wow.
yes.
All right. So today, I want you to help us understand, beta, what has been your strategy for the entire 1 year, and what kind of advice will you give for your juniors?
Ma'am, first of all, what I think is what motivated me to study, because I am a very distracted person, to be honest. I want to watch
Okay.
Netflix, I want to watch YouTube, and also I want to study too. But that's not possible, right? You can't have best of both the worlds sometimes.
Mm. Right.
And what motivated me was my classmates, my friends, the people in my friend group were so hardworking, so smart, and so competitive. I used to feel so motivated. Oh, I want to not defeat this person. Like, I want to get good marks. Even I want to be one of the top rankers in my class. So all these people around me, all these smart, hardworking people around me, they didn't demotivate me. Rather, it motivated me to work hard. I got exposed to that competition. So with that thing in my mind too, I started studying. Yeah, that there is a lot of competition. Everyone is studying, and it's a do or die, not do or die moment. But you have to do this if you want to get good marks.
So, what was your daily routine on an average? How many hours did you study?
Daily routine, to be honest, I used to wake up as usual, turn on the laptop and sit for online classes. One thing was, online classes, of course there are n number of distractions for online classes, but at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day you have to listen to the class, because even the tiniest of the point can cost you like 2 or 3 marks in your exam. So you have
Right.
to pay attention. There is no option to that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing to be focused in class is interact. If you stay quiet, if you think being on mute is going to solve everything, that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, and ask the silliest of doubts, because once you start talking to your teacher, once you start interacting, right, then you find interest in that class, even though you don't like that subject. But because you have already started talking, you start interacting with that respective subject teacher, you will just be focused. You want to be focused because you know that there is some interaction between you and the teacher, so you're finding it fun somehow. That's the thing, that you have to be involved in the class.
Okay. Which subject for you was most difficult throughout the entire like class 10th, and which one was like a cakewalk, very easy?
For me, the toughest was science, and
All right.
and now science is my stream, and I love science. So science and social, yes, social used to be a pain for me, but actually it was. That's why I joined your class, and since then it's been social has been a cakewalk. So, anyways, and yeah, science and social.
Mm-hmm.
Science, I realized it pretty late कि ratta mane se, like people say, or just
नहीं होगा.
it does not happen. No subject is
Mm-hmm.
like that. Honestly, social also, you can't simply learn it. You have to understand the
Correct.
background story,
Correct.
right? And science is something like you can understand with the help of experiments. Like, this is not wrong. Like, people say experiment karo dekho. People think that no, they just say it just for the sake of it, but that's actually true. The experiments, the lab activities that we did in our school, when thankfully we had offline school in 10th,
Mm-hmm.
that was so fun. The light experiments, concave, convex, mirror, was amazing. Like it was so fun to even watch and to, for that experiments to being held and all that. So yeah, science, and we have a chapter called acids and bases and salts in our
Yeah.
science. Yeah, second chapter
Yeah.
or something. So once I started learning, for example, I started learning that acetic acid is in vinegar, lactic acid in curd, and all that. And I was like, oh, where is this gonna ever help me? So there was this. I remember. Yeah, there was this real life scenario that a red ant. It's very normal scenario. Red ant bit my brother's hand or something, and then my mom was like, "What's the solution to that?" Then I said, yeah, you need to put toothpaste like baking soda. And my mom was like, how do you know that? I'm like, I know that because I learned chemistry. I was shocked how I could give that reply. It was so fun. It was like even the tiniest moment. I was feeling so proud of myself. And wow, it can be applied. All these things can be applied in real life too. So I honestly like that a lot. And since then, I was like, yeah, science is something which actually interesting, and actually,
Right.
it can make your life easier also, all these small details.
So, talking about science and social, when it came to preparation, so yours was a peculiar batch. You had term one MCQ and term two was subjective. Plus, your classes were going on. You were all confused, right? Online jana hai, offline jana hai, what to do and all.
Yeah.
So, how were you managing first? Because 2 years had been mostly MCQ thing, moving on to the
True.
regular subjective pattern. How did you
Hmm.
practice for the subjective thing, and what was your basic study material? What all did you read, and how much time did it take, and what amount of test material you thought that ye iske baad I am done fully?
Huh. Yes, it was all these years till like ninth, we had subjective only. But because of that term one, we were so focused on objective, those 6 months were enough for us to forget how to write subjective pattern paper. So again, it was a very drastic change. Everyone learning things, learning statements line to line was obviously very important because CBSE loves NCRT. That's the
Yes.
whole soul. Yeah, so it was very tough. And what my parents also kept telling me, and my peers, they kept telling me that to remember, to have that memory of all those lines and those NCRT question answers, especially social, you have to write them down. What I used to do that, I used to learn like in like one time interval, I used to learn 5 question answers of suppose a chapter democracy in social. I learned like 5 questions in a go, five markers, or like 5 2 markers or 3 markers. Then I used to revise them, and then after 2 or 3 minutes, I used to jot them down one by one, obviously without looking at the book. I used to write them down. That writing practice will make sure that all those words, all those statements are in your mind. So to remember all those answers, you have to write them down, because what happens is when you say it out, you feel that ha, I know mujhe aata hai. But when you write it on pen and paper, like you go blank. You're like, I learned it. Where is it all gone? So you have to write it down. Then you'll have that confidence to get all those specific keywords that CBSE expects from you.
So NCRT was the sole material that you were referring to,
Yes.
and test papers.
Test papers, very famous one. Oswal is there. Arihant is there. What I would say that in Oswal there are some previous year questions. You not only see, there are NCRT back exercises and back questions. Definitely you have to do them because they are NCRT. So you have to do them. वो करना ही पड़ेगा. और ओसवाल में हाँ. So what happens is we get so excited. We buy so many materials. We get so excited कि हाँ ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है. So we get so excited, but at the end of the day, we find ourselves all confused. Previous year बच्चे हैं, NCRT बच्चे हैं. So before buying any resource book, you make sure that you're on tips, that NCRT is on your fingertips. You have to make sure. Then only
Right.
you go for some other material for questions. But don't get that extra knowledge from other materials. See, NCRT पे question आ रहा है, so why to waste time on some extra knowledge that's not going to help you score any marks?
Correct. So how many
Yeah.
months before the exam you thought कि अभी मेरा syllabus भी हो गया है and I'm thoroughly prepared?
I feel 1 month. It was it.
1 month.
1 month, or like not 1 month, 2 3 weeks before, 2 3 weeks before. Because
Oh.
honestly, yeah, 2-3 weeks, yes. क्योंकि वो डर, you feel that fear कि how much ever you have prepared, everyone feels that मेरा ये रह गया है, वो रह गया है, everything, something is left. You always feel that even though you're actually 100% prepared, you have always a doubt in your mind कि I could have read this page a bit more in a better manner. I could have revised this a number of times.
Right, right.
So yeah. So you have to be confident you have to be confident. At least confident hogar, you don't forget that what you know. You don't forget what you know. Instead of worrying about the things that you don't know, first be confident about what you actually know, the concepts you actually know. Then you start working on your weak topics.
Acha. Coming to your stress thing, I know a lot of children जिनको मैं personally भी बोलती रहती हूँ. Now that is what I follow. So I want to hear it out from a topper now कि मेरा रहता है कि please one day before the exam, maximum by 6 p.m. छोड़ दो बुक को. Don't open it, and
हाँ.
while traveling to the center तब तो बिल्कुल भी मत खोलो. So would you recommend the same thing, or you are someone कि last minute तक भी book खोलो पढ़ो because something is getting into the mind?
नहीं, I follow your method only every time.
Okay.
क्योंकि
All right.
क्या होता है ना, हाँ वही, you should not open the book before exam. You know the
Right.
things that are there in the book, but वो anxiety, it convinces you that आपको कुछ नहीं आता है. So that's the thing. Never open the book. Never open it like before exam, because you start reading. If you don't even remember one line, right? That confidence in a second it goes down, and you mess up your entire paper. So yeah, that's the
Right.
thing.
So how did you deal with your stress when your exams were approaching, and how cool were your, if they were, how cool were your parents, how they were dealing with the stress?
Honestly, my parents were pretty confident. They were pretty confident. Any parent, like most of the parents, even my parents, they were pretty supportive. They were like, Sia, you have worked hard, and if you worked hard, the fruit will always the fruit will always come at the end. But make sure you have to be confident. Okay, we find that confidence in you, and you have to be confident of yourself. Agar mehnat ki hai, to you will get the good result. But don't compare yourselves to others. Don't compare yourselves कि हाँ अरे उसके मार्क्स ज्यादा आ गए मुझसे. Honestly, what I think is, in a way, you have to kind of compare yourself to others, not in the manner that we generally think of, that oh god, my friend got like 2 or 3 marks more than me, that's why she got like full on full, I'm like 2 marks behind her. No, you have to instead take in a positive way. Wow, she got such good marks, even I want to aim for that, and she's my friend. So
Right.
that's something you have to grab from them, that you know, that all those good qualities you have to learn from them rather getting demotivated. Again, the same point, that you have to, you know, get motivated by all these people. How are they doing it? Even we can do it, right? So rather, this competition, you take it in a positive way, then you will find a positive outcome in your own results and your marks.
So Sia, how many hours will you recommend daily padna, and from what time of the year you should be regular with at least that timetable of regular studies? शुरू से करना है, या you can take your good sweet time 3-4 months into class 10th you can do it? कब से शुरू करना चाहिए?
ऑनेस्टली मैम, हमेशा आप कौन सी भी एग्जाम दे रहे हो, 10th की बोर्ड हो, जेई हो, नीट हो, कुछ भी हो, यू हैव टू स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग इटसेल्फ. You have to get used to that hard work from the beginning itself, because end of the exam में anxiety, pressure जैसे all these things are going to mess up your score and your confidence. So शुरू से ही, obviously not in one go 12 hours, 10 घंटे नहीं, ऐसा कुछ, no one can do it in one day. So I mean, immediately, slowly, what you can do is from the beginning, at least जो class में पढ़ाया, you can revise that, so that you're thorough with what your teacher has taught. You should never, you know, leave things for the last moment. Obviously, that's a very general obvious point. So of course, in the beginning, कोई भी 5-6 घंटे, at least I couldn't in the beginning, I couldn't put that time to my study. So I slowly जितना भी टीचर ने पढ़ा रिवाइज करो, उस पे क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करो, NCERT एक्सरसाइज सॉल्व करो, and then you will find that confidence that when you do it regularly, you won't have that much of stress and anxiety during your exams, because you have been doing this for a long time. You're used to it. So of course, from the beginning itself. And when it comes to number of hours, I didn't used to count my number of hours. timetables never worked for me, and so once I realized that timetable is not my thing, I stopped wasting my time making a timetable. So you have to find you have to discover by yourself only that do timetables actually work for you or not. If they work for you, very good, go for it and follow it very sincerely. If they don't, make sure you take a sheet of paper, write down your goals for that day, and make sure by hook or crook you have to complete those goals, and फिर ही आपको सोने जाना है. So I used to complete my one day goals and then only I used to go to sleep.
है सिया आज के टाइम में जैसे बहुत ज्यादा ऑनलाइन ट्यूशंस हो रहे हैं, बहुत सारी एकेडमीज हो रही हैं. सो व्हाट वुड यू से कि स्कूल इज नॉट हेल्पिंग इनफ, या फिर एज अ बूस्टर क्लासेस सारे बच्चे, क्योंकि आजकल मेरे टाइम पे ट्यूशन सिर्फ वीक स्टूडेंट्स लेते थे. आज का जो मैं
हाँ.
पैटर्न ऑब्जर्व कर रही हूँ, doesn't matter what category of student you are, everyone has a subject के लिए help. So how
Yes.
important do you think it is to have tuitions, if it is important?
Ma'am, what I feel is tuitions is not a burden. Rather, many people, are tuition jana hai. It's a burden for a lot of people. People have said that in their mind that that's a burden. It's just for parents. No, you're doing it for yourself. You're getting all the tiniest and the silliest of doubts that we think that are, but they're actually important doubts. And those tiny doubts can be cleared by tuition teachers because you're open to them. Teachers, what happens is we fear that sometimes teachers might judge us because they've already taught that topic. We fear that teachers might judge us, but actually obviously they don't, because they're teachers and they know that even agar unhen 1 plus 1 is equals to 2 bhi samjhana ho, they will explain it. But still we have that fear, and we tend to be more open towards our tuition teachers. We are a bit more friendly towards them because we know that they will never judge us, right? So, and even our class teachers won't, but still we have that fear. So tuition teachers, tuitions, importantly, they are important for me. They have helped me revise my concepts and get all my doubts cleared. And of course, extra practice, because the more exposure you get to different types of questions, the more perfect you become in that concept. So school के भी questions कर लिए, tuition के भी थोड़े बहुत daily practice questions कर लिए. So you are all set for that concept, for that chapter. So definitely they are important. But if you are still able to maintain your marks without tuition, that is also well and good. If you think that you need them, you should get them, I would prefer, because definitely they'll be beneficial to you rather than what people think is a waste of time. No, it is actually a very good, efficient use of time. So
अभी मेरे करंट बैच में जो बच्चे हैं सिया,
हाँ.
दे आर टेकिंग ट्यूशंस फॉर ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द 5 सब्जेक्ट्स. तो मैंने
अच्छा.
अभी ऐसे हुआ है कि मैंने एक बच्चे का टाइम टेबल जब मांगा, बिकॉज ही वाज
हाँ.
नॉट प्रैक्टिसिंग सफिशिएंटली मैथ्स का, तो आई वाज सरप्राइज टू सी कि मैं उसका प्रैक्टिस टाइम कहाँ फिट करूं. बिकॉज मॉर्निंग स्कूल से लेके ट्यूशन टाइमिंग्स, आई फेल्ट बैड फॉर द किड. सो एज अ 10th grader, how did you manage your school and tuitions together?
School and tuitions. Okay. So what I used to do is, when I used to feel tired, see, online classes, how much ever you say no, they're actually a bit hectic because the blue light,
Yes.
it just messes up with your head. And especially my head used to pain so much because of that screen time. So what I used to do is, first of all, पढ़ाई करने मतलब as soon as online classes are done, you take a small power nap, 30 minutes maximum, you sleep, you let your brain reboot, how they say, recharge for some
Mm-hmm.
time. Don't go for like 2 or 3 hours naps, because then you're gonna feel all tired, because that's a very long period of time to take a power nap. Power naps are what they are, for 10 to 30 minutes max. 30 minutes max. So you have to rest that so that you can calm yourself down, and so that you can retain things. Then right after that, before, of course, you have to go through your notes jaldi matlab. And for going through the notes, for understanding the notes, first and foremost in the priority is listening to the class. Of course, if you haven't listened, you
Right.
won't understand the notes. So you have to listen to the class for you to understand the notes. Then again, a number of doubts will come. Solve that. जब ट्यूशन होगी तो उसको डाउट क्लियर कर लो, और फिर जब डाउट्स भी क्लियर कर हो जाएंगे, फिर आप होमवर्क भी कर सकते हो. एंड ट्यूशन की बात आई तो ट्यूशन होमवर्क की बात आई तो people take tuition homework very lightly and that is very wrong because they think the tuition teacher तो हमें नहीं डांटने वाली है. You should take it seriously too. They're as important as your school homework because ultimately why are you doing all these tuitions and your classes to get good scores, right? So you have to take them very seriously. You have to give time to them. And how would you balance them? First, I feel first you have to complete your school homework because again the teacher, because some of them are based on, they will give marks on basis of that
Right.
homework, right? Certain assignments, so you have to complete that. And tuition homework you can do it right after your what do we say, school homework is done. School homework pehle complete kar lo, sham ke baad you can go out or chill, like some people they play some sports and then come back, have some dinner and then start doing your tuition homework. You have to take it very seriously. और अगर ट्यूशन होमवर्क में भी डाउट है तो है ही ट्यूशन टीचर आपके लिए. एंड वन मोर थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू add is that yeah, I think that's enough. Sorry. Yeah, that's
So
all.
I also get a query कि मैम हम स्कूल की छुट्टी मार ले, मिनिमम अटेंडेंस जो रिक्वायर्ड है वो कर लें, ट्यूशन तो हम रेगुलर कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज समवेयर डाउन द लाइन पेरेंट भी कई बार पूछते हैं मैम कैसे बैलेंस करें. सो विल यू सजेस्ट कि 100% स्कूल अटेंडेंस जरूरी है, या फिर इट्स ओके हियर एंड देयर यू स्किप एंड मैनेज योर टाइम, थोड़ा सा ट्यूशन और कभी इसका छुट्टी मार लो कभी उसका मार लो, और यू हैव टू टेक टुगेदर थ्रू आउट द ईयर?
I feel is that मैम अटेंडेंस इम्पोर्टेंट है, पर क्या होता है ना समटाइम्स अल्टीमेटली आप कितना भी फोकस्ड हो, समटाइम्स वी आर ह्यूमंस एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, राइट? वी विल गेट डिस्ट्रैक्टेड टू सम पॉइंट. तो आई यूज्ड टू समटाइम्स गेट डिस्ट्रैक्टेड इन माय क्लासेस एंड I used to miss out an entire concept which I used to realize at the end of the day that what have I done? I could have rather be more focused. So क्या होता था ना, अगर एक कॉन्सेप्ट मिस हो गया ना, नेक्स्ट कॉन्सेप्ट नेक्स्ट न्यू वाला आपको समझ नहीं आएगा बिकॉज next new one is the base, because the next new one is formed on the basis of the first one. So अगर आपको base से नहीं समझ में आया तो new concept तो you can't understand. So what I used to do is if I haven't paid attention to a class that I was supposed to, what I used to do is I didn't used to join the first half an hour of the class or didn't used to join an entire class. Rather I would revise the previous class का concepts which I have not understood, because then instead of wasting time, अगर समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, अगर समझ में लिटरली नहीं आ रहा है तो इधर क्वेश्चन पूछो. यार I used to leave the class and I used to first practice or try to understand my previous concepts more, because if I don't understand the previous concepts, the new concept is just gonna go over my head, which is of no use. So मैं क्या करती थी, अगर साइंस चल रहा है और अगर कोई रिएक्शन मैम समझा रही है, पर बिफोर दैट शी टॉट अस समथिंग बेस्ड ऑफ दैट रिएक्शन, सपोज बैलेंसिंग मैम ने सिखाया था and now she's teaching neutralization reactions. So I don't know why is ma'am putting all those numbers in front of those for example, in front of those all those reactions, those compounds. I don't know. So obviously if I don't know what's happening, I'm wasting my time, right? In a way I'm wasting my time. So I'll just leave that and I'll start I obviously used to ask my friends for क्या किया था और क्या छोटे छोटे पॉइंट्स मैम ने बताए थे. So I used to do the previous concepts and then come back to what ma'am was doing in the class.
How useful was YouTube or any material that's present online in your preparation, or you only focused on the physical resources that were available?
I feel YouTube at the end of the day is very very useful. YouTube मतलब आप कौन से भी क्लास में YouTube, everyone has once at least lifetime opens YouTube for some lecture. कभी ना कभी मतलब one student will open YouTube to find or to understand some concept. So YouTube has also helped a lot for sure, no doubt. There are some great channels, but only if I have really not understood the depth of that concept. वो दैट हैपेंस रेयरली इन 10th क्लास, क्योंकि एक्चुअली कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आ जाते हैं, पर अगर सच में समझ में आ गया, इफ यू फाइंड मोर प्रैक्टिस यू गो टू YouTube टू गेट अ डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव टू सॉल्व दैट क्वेश्चन. जैसे कि हाँ मैम, और क्या होता है ना, जो NCERT CBSE जो होता है ना, CBSE एक KVS करके एक सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस आता है गूगल पे, बहुत इट्स वेरी फेमस. सो आई यूज टू सर्च अप दैट all previous questions, all एक पूरे PDF में 2 markers, 3 markers, 5 markers. So I used to go through all of that, and what I used to realize is that all my teachers give questions from that paper only, because that is an official CBSE paper. So you have to
अच्छा,
solve that, and
okay.
then it'll be very easy for you.
ऑलराइट. कुछ आप बेटा स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट के लिए कोई मेडिटेशन, योगा या फिजिकल वर्कआउट भी करते थे, या फिर
मैम,
डेली रूटीन?
हाँ मैम, स्ट्रेस किसको कब नहीं, मतलब who does not get it, like some point you get it unfortunately. So for that yoga थोड़ी देर के लिए, मतलब I was a bit on the lazy side, so that of course yoga is very useful for some people, but unfortunately it was not my thing. So I used to listen to music, motivating music honestly. ऐसा नहीं है कि Bollywood song सुन लिया and then you spend your entire time on that one song and obsessing over it. No, you have to listen to the right kind of music that motivates you. There are so many beautiful motivation songs, Hindi mein ho, kaun si bhi language or English mein ho. There are beautiful motivating songs. You listen to them, you feel so empowered, you feel so, I don't know, you that feeling just comes, that you feel that you can achieve everything, you know. All those songs, all those videos, motivation videos hazar hai, but at the end of the day those videos also not, they only last, your motivation because of them only last for 2 to 3 minutes. You're back on track. So I feel is you listen to that motivating music whenever you feel a bit tired or demotivated, you get back up and then you start solving a paper and reading a concept again. I still follow that music strategy, yeah, for
ग्रेट.
11th.
मैथ्स के लिए क्या सजेस्ट करोगे बच्चे? आंसर राइटिंग मैथ्स में बच्चे बहुत मार्क्स लूज कर जाते हैं इवन इफ देयर आंसर्स आर करेक्ट. सो व्हाट वुड यू सजेस्ट शुड बी द प्रॉपर स्टेप्स ऑफ राइटिंग एन आंसर?
हाँ मैम, एक्चुअली क्या होता था ना, अभी सब्जेक्टिव है, तो सब्जेक्टिव में तो यू हैव टू राइट RTP, यू हैव टू राइट द गिवन, यू हैव टू ड्रॉ द फिगर आल्सो फॉर सम थिंग्स. दैट इज वेरी टाइम कंज्यूमिंग honestly, that is actually very time consuming, but you can't skip it because examiner expects all these things. What one thing
करेक्ट.
I used to keep in mind, that ऐसा तुम ऐसे लिखना चाहिए तुमको कि examiner कुछ ना पता हो, because I feel everyone says this, ma'am, even you know this, right? That is a very obvious thing. An
राइट.
examiner is not necessarily a maths teacher. It might be a Hindi teacher, English teacher. So you have to write given RTP. He or she does not know that what is happening in this problem. की देखा, solve किया, टिक 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 मार्क किया, students को answer दे दिए. So RTP, given, it's very important. Again, do not spend too much time over explaining that one point. I feel you have to again refer to toppers papers. जो बहुत सारे toppers papers मिलते हैं, I refer to them. और मैंने देखा एंड देन आई रियलाइज्ड कि मैं एक्चुअली एक्सेसिव ज्यादा चीजें लिख रही हूँ एग्जाम में, एंड दैट इज वेस्टिंग माय टाइम अ लॉट. सो आई सॉ हाउ आर दे राइटिंग द गिवन, हाउ दे राइटिंग द RTP, कौन से चैप्टर्स के लिए दे ड्राइंग द फिगर्स एंड लेबलिंग. सो ओनली फॉर अ सर्टेन चैप्टर्स दोस थिंग्स आर इंपॉर्टेंट, लाइक ट्रिग्नोमेट्री, सर्कल्स, वहां पर, और सरफेस एरिया वॉल्यूम, वहां पर फिगर ड्रॉ करना नेसेसिटी है, वहां पर नेसेसरी है, बिकॉज या so in specific
Okay.
chapters you have to follow this pattern.
और लास्ट बच्चा, इंग्लिश के लिए कैसे बच्चे प्रिपेयर करें? बिकॉज वो कहीं ना कहीं निग्लेक्टेड हो जाता है व्हेन द एंटायर
हाँ,
फोकस इज ऑन साइंस, मैथ्स, सोशल. आपके
yeah.
2 सब्जेक्ट्स हमेशा निग्लेक्ट होते हैं, तो उसका कैसे बच्चे सोल्यूशन निकालें?
मैम, इंग्लिश तो ऑनेस्टली, इंग्लिश हिंदी आई यूज टू टेक लाइटली इन द बिगनिंग. तो इंग्लिश हिंदी में लाइटली लिया, हाँ इंग्लिश है ना, वो तो सबको आता है, आई यूज टू गेट इट. बट नो, आई रियलाइज नो, ग्रामर इज एक्चुअली काइंड ऑफ हार्ड, इट्स नॉट दैट इजी ऑल्सो. इट्स, यू हैव टू प्रैक्टिस, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, क्योंकि थोड़े क्या होता है ना, ये थोड़े मॉडल्स, वर्ब्स, ये सारी चीजें जो होती है, दे कैन बी एट टाइम्स ट्रिकी, क्योंकि
Yes.
बिकॉज देयर आर सो मेनी ऑप्शंस, यू कांट चूज एट विच मॉडल इन विच केस. सपोज मे, माइट, कौन से केसेस या कौन से कंडीशंस पे हमें यूज करना है. सो ऑल दैट अगेन कम्स फ्रॉम प्रैक्टिस. यू हैव टू हैव दैट एक्सपीरियंस that yeah, I can use this term or I can use this word for filling the gap in that grammar question. Literature, literature, I don't think it's that much of a bigger problem. Again, you should not neglect it. You have to understand the central theme of the कि क्या हो क्या रहा है lesson में, what is the outcome, what is the moral, like we say in a layman language. What is the motive of the author to write this story? You have to know that. You have to know the reason what this poem is trying to teach you. We have to know that. Of course, central theme और ये सारी चीजें बहुत important है. Ultimately, English के chapters जो थे बड़े, it's very fun. It's very funny to some of the poems. I enjoy them honestly. जब भी free time होता है, you have to read that because they're fun. And of course, what you have to just study, focus more on English is the lesson it's trying to teach you. The what do we say? The central theme of the poem and what it's trying to give a message to you. The message the author of the poem is trying to give you. That is very 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 important. And CBSE loves it.
All right. And one last question, Sia, what advice will you give to your juniors who are struggling to get marks right now? Because pre-board और board का जो है, मेरी observation ये है कि maximum 20% का up down marks में रहता है. I have students जिनका
हाँ
pre-board में 50 आया and finals में 77 भी आया है. So demotivated हो जाते हैं वो pre-board का
हाँ, of
score देख
course.
के. Plus, what will be your advice to your juniors about class 10th experience? How is it going to be like?
Class 10th, जैसा I mean what people say is what even I have realized at the end of class 10th. Class 9th is better on the tougher side. If we notice that the odd numbers of the class is kind of tough, then the even numbers like 10th and 12th, because I'm still in 11th, I don't know what's happened in 12th. So actually 9th is a bit tougher than 10th because all these base concepts are new. But once you start focusing and getting interest in 10 concepts, they're actually very easy, very, very, very fun, especially. And one thing I would recommend is never compare yourself to your friends. अगर compare करना ही है, तो ऐसे compare करो कि उनसे कुछ मतलब nice things you grab from them.
Yes.
But this person is sitting and studying. Look at the
Right.
dedication towards the subject. So you have to learn that from the classmates around you. Do not get demotivated, rather get motivated and do your best to be in the competition.
Thank you so much, Sia, for all your time. It was lovely meeting you after so long. And all the very
Thank
best,
you,
Beta,
ma'am.
for all your
You
future
too.
endeavors.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Sia.
Bye, ma'am.